Superman doesn't have interesting villains.
You serious?
Nice of you to drop in.
Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer, and quickly before I get into the topic today, I just want to say that intro right there was not directed at Batman fans, because I'm a Batman fan myself. It's at the fanboys, the people that think that you can't like Batman and Superman both, so you gotta pick a side, and then you gotta just bash the other, like the people that are saying, you know, Batman has the greatest villain, and Superman's villains suck. And the reason I made this video is because I see a lot of people saying the reason they changed the villains in Batman v Superman is because they weren't interesting in the comics, which is completely bogus. Like, I see so many people saying, well, Doomsday, you know, he doesn't talk, so he's this boring villain and stuff, and it just annoys me, because it's like, you know, out of the 0 comics you've read, and everything that you read off the internet to give you that impression, you know, that's pretty funny and ignorant of you to say that. So anyways, let's get into today's topic, which is, are Superman's villains interesting? Because everyone seems to think they're boring. First off, my favorite villain of all time, which is Lex Luthor. Everyone just thinks of him as a bald idiot, and for good reason too, because that's what he's been in the movies. In the movies, he's had terrible interpretations, and in the cartoons, it's been just as bad. They make him this guy that just gets angry and is a complete idiot, to where in the comics, he's this very smart and somewhat charming guy, and that's what's scary about him, because you know he's bad, but he's still charming. It's like, how's he do that? Like, how's that work? He was able to be elected president of the United States even after everyone knew he was a bad guy. That's, you know, not your run-of-the-mill villain can do that. Now, people think about the fact that, hey, he never figured out who Clark Kent was. That Clark Kent and Superman were one of the same. What an idiot. He can't be the smartest guy in the DC universe. Actually, he did. He created a machine that deduced who Superman's secret identity was, you know, who was Superman, and it was Clark Kent. And he's like, okay, this machine has to be faulty. No way. The reason he says that is because he has this preconceived notion of Superman as this guy that's just this big stuck-up jerk and is a glory hound. He flies through Metropolis in his bright colors, just attracting attention. That's all he cares about. Clark Kent is this very humble man that's a hard worker, and Superman would never lower himself that way. He wouldn't do that. That is the way Lex Luthor thinks. That's what he believes. And so when he sees Clark Kent, he's like, no, Superman's not humble enough to do that. He would not lower himself to that. And also partially is because with Superman's secret identity is the fact that a lot of people don't even think Superman would have a secret identity. Because if you're Superman, why would you ever stop being Superman? There's no reason to. Because unlike normal people, he doesn't need, you know, a job or to eat or anything like that. If he needed to eat, he can find a way to get food because he's Superman. And so there's just all these different things, and so people don't think of a secret identity. And so Lex Luthor, again, it's just like, you know, there's no way he would humble himself down to that level. And Lex Luthor has done plenty in the comics, which is awesome, such as Superman Batman Public Enemies, which is my favorite Superman Batman team-up book. In that book, he is the president of the United States, and he puts like something like a $50 billion bounty or something like that on Superman's head. So all these villains come after him because there's this kryptonite meteor that is headed for Earth, and he's like, hey, Superman's the reason this meteor is coming. You guys go get him. And just tons of people come at Superman. It's a really cool storyline, and just Lex is awesome in it, and just Lex is great. If you guys want to know, like, basically who Lex Luthor is, read the miniseries Lex Luthor Man of Steel. It's a great graphic novel written by Brian Azzarello. I got a little tongue twisted there. He did a great job with Lex Luthor. But anyways, moving on from Lex, let's go to Doomsday. Doomsday is a fantastic villain as well. People think, hey, he doesn't talk. You know, that doesn't work as a great villain. No, because actions speak louder than words, and Doomsday is nothing but action. He is a force of nature. When you're a force of nature, you don't use words. You don't need to. And so he just goes around and pummels everyone in his way. Superman's the only one that can stop him, and sometimes even Superman can't stop him. So this guy's really intense. Like, he's one of the few villains that every time he shows up, it's like they go to drastic measures to beat him. It's insane. Besides like really one storyline that involved Darkseid, pretty much every other one they actually had to, because there's this thing where Superman fought over John Henry Irons' soul. John Henry Irons is Steel. I don't even know if that helps clarify at all, because a lot of you guys probably don't know who Steel is. But anyways, thing happened. Doomsday got his butt kicked real easily. But besides that, Doomsday like has been a tour de force every time he shows up, and he's awesome. He's not a one and done villain. When he beat the living crap out of the Justice League. He's done it multiple times. He made Martian Manhunter look like a second-rate superhero. He did the same to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman even said she wasn't holding back or anything. It was giving her all, and couldn't even damage Doomsday at all. He's such a cool villain, and one of the things that makes him my favorite, one of my favorite villains, is the fact that he's a villain that only Superman can stop. So he's very unique to Superman. Unlike the Joker, you could think of a million different superheroes who could beat the Joker. Doomsday is a villain that only Superman can stop, and I think that's awesome and adds another element to who he is as a villain. Now, I just want to go back to Lex Luthor real quick, because I re-listened to that, and I basically talked a bit about Lex Luthor, but I didn't really say I didn't really give you guys anything from the comics that made him awesome. One of the things that really made him awesome was in Lex Luthor Man of Steel, he incites the first Batman v Superman battle in that comic. What happens is he goes and he's buddies with Bruce Wayne, because they're all rich guys, and he's like, hey, this guy's a bad guy, this Superman guy, he's out of control. You guys should fight. Basically what he does, he entices them and he gives them kryptonite. Superman kicks the crap out of Batman, but that's what really makes Batman hate Superman even more and gets on him on his side. Another thing is, Lex Luthor is a self-made man. No one gave him his riches. He went and made it for himself, which is another thing he has a problem with Superman, because Superman was just given these powers. He didn't earn them. That's another reason he absolutely hates him, because Lex Luthor made himself. Another thing is, Lex Luthor in his younger days visited Apokolips, studied under Darkseid, well, not really studied under, but was a slave of Darkseid for a bit, escaped there. It was sort of Darkseid's plan for him to escape, because he wanted to see if Lex could, so he let him. And then Lex Luthor also studied under Ra's al Ghul, got killed by Ra's al Ghul, and then Ra's, brought him back. And that's just some other things for how awesome Lex Luthor is, because earlier I re-listened to the Lex Luthor part and I was like, hey, I didn't really give any reasons for why Lex Luthor is awesome. So anyways, another great villain is Parasite. Parasite's a really cool dude. One of my favorite things that he did was, I don't remember the name of the story, I have got the issues for it, but what happened was, basically Superman died from fighting these people, I think it's this all-powerful villain. It's been a while since I've read the story arc. I read it all in back issues, just going trying to collect them throughout my comic shop. But anyways, he fought this guy, and he died, at least presumably. He was gone, and the last person to have any bit of Superman was Parasite, and Parasite was able to absorb some of Superman and get some of his memories and stuff, and so Lois was attached to Parasite. She wanted to have her, her husband there. She wanted to have Superman there with her, and it was a really cool story seeing that the fact that Superman's gone. He comes back later and deals with the guy, but anyways, it was really cool seeing that this world with Superman gone, that Parasite was the only one who had anything left of Superman. I thought that was a really cool element to the story and how they used him. And Parasite's also got the added bonus of the fact that he just got really cool powers, and he's a big purple monster. I just think that he's a cool villain. I mean, he's able to absorb these people's powers, and he has to in order to keep, in order to not be hungry. And just think about that. Think of that if you had this constant hunger to feed off of people. That would be pretty scary. You have to, and then once you see someone like Superman, that's an all-you-can-eat buffet. That guy's got tons of power. Just think of that. Think of being in the situation that Parasite is. That's gotta be rough, and it makes for a very interesting character. Another one of my favorite Superman villains is Manchester Black, and this is a guy that hasn't gotten that much of a spotlight. He's a great villain. He really messes with Superman's head. He's not a physical villain at all. He's a telepath, and every time he shows up, it's been pretty big. And his first appearance was in one of the probably the most acclaimed Superman single issue, which is What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way, and it really tested Superman on would he kill this guy or not, because just Superman goes through all this crap to where people just they're like, we're tired of this lame Superman. Superman's this Boy Scout. we like this new age of heroes because these guys come in and Manchester Black's the leader of them, and they're doing stuff, they're being heroes slash villains, and people are like, okay, we like them better. Like in that comic, Superman sees kids dressing up as the Elite is what they're called. They're dressing up as them, and then this one kid dressed up as Superman. He's like, it's not fair, I can't kill, there's no way I can contend with you guys, I'm going home, I'm not playing pretend with you guys. And Superman sees that, it's like, dang. And so in the end, Superman makes Manchester Black believe the fact that he killed the rest of his team when he didn't, and then he lobotomizes him to where he's like, I took away your powers, except he really didn't, because later on Manchester Black shows up in another one of my favorite storylines, which is Superman ending battle, which is one of the most action-packed Superman storylines, and it's great. It's just constant action throughout. Basically, Manchester Black gets all these villains to attack Superman. It's really cool. You have some big guys in there like Mongol and Bizarro, and they're all attacking Superman, and then during all that, Manchester Black goes after Lois. He captures Lois, he's in their apartment, and it really shows the part of Superman to where the fact that he wants to protect what's his. He wants to protect his family, which is Lois, but at the same time he has this obligation to protect all these other people, and so that's why he's going out fighting these guys, and he's trying to find out what's going on. And then Manchester Black is there, and he goes home, because he realizes the end game was Lois, and in his mind, because the telepath messes with him, he sees Manchester Black kill Lois, and he goes through this thing to where he thinks about just brutally murdering Manchester Black, like heat visioning his flesh off. But then he just like, no, that's not what Lois was want. It's not the right thing to do here. And then it turns out Lois is actually alive. And Manchester Black's a little pissed because he wasn't able to get at Superman. He wasn't able to tear down at Superman. Because it seems like Manchester Black's main goal the whole time is to always just tear that Boy Scout away from Superman. Try to tear him down from being like the best example to being like this piece of crap person or something, to proving that Superman's not the great ideal we all thought he was. That seems to be Manchester Black's whole goal, and he really is a great villain. But anyways, those are just some of Superman's villains, and some of them, Manchester Black and others, some of them you guys may not have known a whole lot about. And yeah, I hope you guys learned some more about Superman, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like.